I'd like to introduce our wonderful mayor, Mayor Moran, who will share a few words with us.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Although it may not seem according to the weather, but what a beautiful day it is today. What a beautiful day that we are here in the front of City Hall celebrating such an important day. I want to welcome you to the second annual Transgender Day of Visibility flag raising in the city of Reading. I also want to thank you for all the being champions of the inclusion and helping to make our city a wonderful place to live. Today we celebrate the transgender community and acknowledge their contributions and achievements. We also stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ community and allies like myself against the hateful rhetoric and laws meant to attack the rights of those individuals. I always say we are each other's neighbors. I say that very often. And as neighbors, we must work together to ensure every member of our community is welcome, included, and seen. I am proud to say that our city is getting there, but there's still work to be done. On these steps, we celebrate and conclude with raising the transgender flag. But the work doesn't stop there. The city of Reading remains the only municipality in the county to offer non-discrimination protection to the LGBTQ plus community. Can I get a round of applause for that? And it's only one of the handful in the state to ban conversion therapy. I'll take another hand for that. Now, those ordinances, although very needed, took us coming together to work on making our city more inclusive. I know ordinance alone won't do it. It's truly up to us, to say the least. Together we can make a difference and continue to make the city an inclusive place while helping our neighbor municipalities come to the same realization. We have to remind them of that on a day-to-day basis. Since we raised the flag last year, there have been too many attacks on the trans community by politicians who were elected to serve our constituents, not attack them. I wish I could say that there was an end in sight for those attacks, or that they don't happen here. But the reality is that lawmakers right here in Pennsylvania have introduced many bills attacking the rights of our transgender community, and there's no lie about that. These hateful attacks need to end, and are not welcome in our city. We will continue to work to celebrate the diversity of our community, but more than celebrate, we will protect the rights of our citizens. The trans, non-binary, and LGBTQ plus community are a very large part of what makes our city beautiful, and will always be welcome and supported here, to say the least. I stand in solidarity with you, and I am honored to celebrate you today. You are all home in the city of Reading, and I hope you know that. You should feel comfortable coming to Reading. You do have a seat in the table. If you don't know that, please come to my office any day of the week. And I always welcome to be a part of our community. We work together to make our city a better day, each day and every day. We must continue to come together so we could stop the hateful attacks that are continuing to happen in our city, in our state, and in our country. That's not accepted here, folks. Not today. But we need to all come together. And I count on your support as we continue to build a better Reading together. Thank you again for coming. You are our city's champion. people like you and the islands around you make who we are proud, and makes me proud to be serving our community. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Enrique Castro. My pronouns are he, him. And I believe this is the first time I've ever listened to the mayor speak where he didn't remind us that we are all each other's neighbors. So with that being said, we know what happened at the Palmer Chocolate Factory just last week. It's been a rough week for all of us here in Berks County, and our hearts go out to all those families affected. I know there's a vigil tonight that most of you will be attending, but in honor of the victims and the families who are surviving and picking up the pieces, we'll take a moment of silence. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, my name is Enrique. I am the Executive Director for Reading Pride Celebration, and it is so heartwarming to see the support here this evening from our elected officials to candidates who would like to serve us in office, one day soon. Everybody's here, and everybody's here for an amazing reason, and that's celebrating the accomplishments of our trans community, because there have been many. For as many hateful attacks as we see against the trans community in the media, because that's the news that sells, right? But nobody's talking about the many achievements in our trans community. One of the worst things that happened in our country was COVID. And who led Pennsylvania through that? A trans woman, Dr. Levine, who's now serving the whole country. Round of applause for that. And there are many other transgender elected officials, more than ever before. And just in January actually, crazy me for going to Minnesota in January, but I happened to meet with the city council president of the city of Minneapolis. And we all know what happened in Minneapolis in 2020. But guess what? The country's first transgender black council president is serving in Minneapolis right now to help fix that problem. So a round of applause for that. So you see, folks, there are so many achievements in our trans community. You just have to look around. And sometimes you have to do the research yourself, because as I said, most of the time you're not going to see it in the media. But that is how we're going to make change and stop the attacks against the transgender and non-binary communities. Allies, the LGBTQ community as a whole, but more importantly, the trans community and non-binary community standing up and saying enough is enough and taking their rights back. No one can take that from you. You take it back, whether it's serving in public office, making public appearances, speaking on television. There's so many things you can do to take your rights back. And right here in Pennsylvania, we have more amazing transgender women who are serving our community, continue to make Pennsylvania a better place for all of us, not just for them. One in particular, Corinne, you'll hear her speak later, has been running all over this state today, attending ceremonies just like this. And not because there's a big salary behind it, because she cares. Corinne is a volunteer who's driven all over the state of Pennsylvania today, and quite honestly does that just about every day. So wherever there's a transgender person who needs help, Corinne is there. It could be here in the city of Reading, Allentown, down in Philly, and I believe, Harrisburg and all over. So a round of applause for our local transgender heroes who are really making our community so much better. But now, folks, I know you didn't come here to hear from me. We want to hear from the elected officials that came to support. We want to hear from these transgender champions of the community that I mentioned. And then we want to see that flag fly proudly on that pole in front of City Hall. And this is the second time we're doing it. And my commitment to you is whoever is serving in this building in office, they're always going to hear my mouth about raising that flag and celebrating this day. The fight does not end. So thank you all. Next up, I'd like to invite our state rep for this district, the city of Reading, Manny Guzman.
Hey, I appreciate that, but I want to give our state senator here, because that's just the way things go in order. Our state senator, Judy Schwenk, and then I'll talk after her. Come on, Judy.
Well, thank you, Representative Guzman, and good evening, everyone. I did the counting. There have been over 400 pieces of legislation introduced in this country that would harm the transgender community. And it happened in Pennsylvania too, folks. In fact, that was last spring. And I distinctly remember being on the Senate floor, and almost every single one of our 21 members got up and spoke against this legislation that would restrict the kinds of information that is available to students, that would restrict medical treatment to individuals who have the privacy and the right to do what they want to do, who would tell parents how they could raise their children and what kind of medical care they could offer. Every single one of us, including me, got up and talked about this issue. They passed it anyway, only to end up meeting the governor's veto pen. And they didn't have the votes to be able to override that legislation. And I'm here to tell you that this will continue, and you know that very well. But this is a day of acknowledging you, of making sure that you understand that you not only have allies, you have warriors in the fight to give you the freedoms that you deserve as citizens of this Commonwealth. It is beyond cruel to me to understand how we would tell parents, you have to deny your child the health care that they need, or any individual the health care that they need to express who they are. That for a child, whether it's a young child in elementary school or in high school, that they would not have available to them age-appropriate information to help them understand that they're not alone in understanding who they are. To me, that is cruel. It is cruel that we would treat our children and our people that way. And I want you to know, not only will I never support those bills, but I see you tonight, and I hear you. And we will continue to. I know my colleagues that are standing here tonight, Representative Guzman, as well as Representative Johanny Cepeda Cortez, we and the mayor, we are here to support you. Yes, we live in a community where it is safe to be who you are, but we can't protect you from the bullying, right? There's so many things that happen that laws can't necessarily end. So it's incumbent on every single one of us. It's our responsibility to make sure the message goes out, that we believe in people, we are humane, we understand the issues that all of our people face, and we will fight to support them. Please know, as you go tonight, that you do have a friend in Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Swink, and I apologize for that confusion. Very powerful words. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I've sat in Senator Swink's office while they were trying to get some of this legislation passed here in Pennsylvania, and I know how angry Senator Swink gets when it comes to defending not only the trans, but the entire LGBTQ community. So thank you, Senator Swink. And now, Representative Guzman.
Hey, everyone. I want to say I see you, I hear you, and I value you. And those are words that I don't think you all hear enough. But as Senator Schwenk said, and as Mayor Moran said, and as Enrique has said, they are policymakers and politicians in Harrisburg and here locally who don't see you, who don't hear you, and who don't value you. And so my message to all of you is really the same message that I have year in and year out. It's the message of your individual role in this fight. Be thankful that that we live in a city that we're able to raise this flag, but also understand that in many places across this county, folks don't have that same opportunity. Folks that are elected just like me, just like Mayor Moran, just like Senator Schwenk, and just like Representative Joanny Cepeda Freites. And so as we go into these local elections, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a political event, but remember to ask your politicians and your would-be politicians, where do they stand on this issue? Where do they stand on equality? Where do they stand on ancillary things like raising the minimum wage and ensuring that folks in our community have access to equitable health decisions that they can make about their own body? This is the time for y'all to be engaged. And I'll be with y'all every step of the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Guzman. And now I'd like to introduce Representative Joanny Cepeda Freites.
Saludos familia, buenas tardes, good evening. Thank you for having us here. Thank you Enrique and many others like the LGBTQ Center for always building awareness, for always advocating, and for making sure we're fighting for everyone's rights. So I'm very appreciative. I'm here today to honor transgender people and raise awareness of the discrimination faced by transgender worldwide. I celebrate their courage, contributions, and it's a day of visibility. And unfortunately, due to judgment and discrimination, not every trans person wants to be visible. I'm sorry, I can't stay still. This hurts because absolutely nobody deserves to hide their true self. And I wanted to share some of the most powerful and upsetting reasons why we must keep raising advocacy and awareness. Transgender adults experience higher levels of depression and anxiety than their peers, with 41% of transgender adults having attempted suicide compared to less than 2% of the general population. A 2019 national survey on LGBTQ youth mental health found that more than half of transgender and non-binary youth have seriously considered suicide. A 2021 Williams Institute study reports 30% of transgender youth have attempted suicide in the past year. 2021 was the deadliest year on record for the community, with the Human Rights Campaign recording 50 transgender and non-conforming people killed. Transgender people are almost more than 4 times likely to be victims of violent crime than cisgender people, according to a study from the UCLA School of Law. And the Office for Victims of Crime reports that at some point in their lives, 1 out of every 2 transgender people are sexually abused or assaulted. As we all know, in states across the United States, trans people are under attack. So whether it's to attempts to ban gender-affirming care for trans youth participating in sports, or even ban insurance companies that provide trans adults with health care, elementary human rights have been put up for discussion. As legislator, I will continue to fight for justice, equality, safety, and healthcare access for all. We are talking about basic human rights. I'm with you throughout the entire process. I'm here to fight for you. But like Representative Guzman said, we need you all on board. We need you to fight with us. And as Mayor Moran said, through us, you each have a seat at the table. And I believe Senator Schwenk also reiterated, she's been at this fight way longer than a lot of us. And the fight must continue. Everyone needs to be on board. So thank you for your contributions. We love you, and we continue to respect and honor you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Representative Joanny Cepeda Freites. So, ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for our elected officials here tonight. There are many others who are not speaking, including council members, and there are other hopefuls who are currently on the ballot. So as was already said earlier, make sure you're questioning where do they stand on trans rights, where do they stand on LGBTQ rights, and then make your decision. Now, ladies and gentlemen, somebody very important gave me this button. It says trans lives are beautiful. So now you're going to hear from the transgender champions of our community who are out there doing the work to make life better for everybody. So before I bring the first person up here, let me hear you all say, trans is beautiful. Trans is beautiful. Wow, that wasn't loud enough. They couldn't hear us upstairs. One more time, trans is beautiful. Trans is beautiful. Thank you. And now from the LGBT Center, I'd like to present Elise Alden.
I don't know if this thing is tall enough. Good evening, everyone. I'm Elise Alden. I'm the Director of Programs at the LGBT Center of Greater Reading. Before I continue, I wanted to acknowledge the tragic events here in our county as well as in our country. The LGBT Center grieves with the people of Reading as we continue to process and heal from the Palmer Chocolate Factory explosion last Friday. The LGBT Center stands with you, and we express our deepest sorrow for those who were affected by this tragic event. I also wanted to address the events in Nashville earlier this week. The LGBT Center also grieves with the families and in the community that have experienced a tragedy that we see all too frequently in this country. We grieve for those who are affected by gun violence and will be advocating diligently for change so that this kind of tragedy does not happen again. There have been those who have decided that this tragedy should be a tool to be used against the transgender community, and I don't want us to be seen as the cause for violence. I hope today that we as trans people can be visible in a different way. Today is Trans Day of Visibility, and as we know, this has been a difficult week for us. I mourn today when I wish I could celebrate. We as transgender people, not just this week, but in many other times, have been seen in a way that really breaks my heart. And so today, I want to present a different kind of visibility than the ones you've seen in the news. It is my wish to be seen as a sister who comes to you when times are troubling. On Trans Day of Visibility, I had wanted to come and speak about love that I felt since coming out, support from friends and family, and the ways that I've been seen differently in a positive light as a sister and as a wife and a daughter. And I feel proud, too, to also be seen as a member of this community, to be supported by this community in this city and in our nation. I ask that you see me as a friend who comes in times of trouble, that grieves with you and that stands with you, and walks with you as we recover from all of these events. I want to thank Enrique for giving me a chance to speak today, and thank you all for being here as we grow and heal together. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise, and the LGBT Center, and thank you for all you do. And just a quick, commercial here. We don't know if it's going to rain or not, so we won't be doing anything after the flag raising this evening, but I encourage you all to attend the Center's Trans Resource Fair, which is happening tomorrow between 1 and 3 at the LGBT Center of Reading. And now, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, one of the community champions that I've been telling you about who's driven all over Pennsylvania today. So forgive her if she has to catch her breath. Corinne Goodman of the Eastern PA Trans Equity Project.
want to know who thought of that name, Eastern PA Trans Equity Project, because like it's really hard to get on a business card. Somebody ought to have a talk with that chick. Take a look at this beautiful overcast sky. Seriously. Take a look at the trees that are flowering. Take a look at the community that is surrounding you. Trans Day of Visibility, it's easy for us to talk about the bad stuff, and I'm going to talk about it. But Trans Day of Visibility is also about celebrating our joy. I just came from an event in Allentown where we raised the flag there, and the two people that raised that flag were two trans littles. One was 8 and one was 11. Olivia and Scooter. I mean, come on, Scooter, right? It's a day when we really have an opportunity to celebrate who we are and who we're becoming. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. I've been talking a lot about trans joy lately because we need to celebrate our joy. And I was talking to a friend of mine, trans guy, he's been shaving for 18 years, and he says he can't wait to wake up in the morning and shave. I go like, what, are you crazy? Right? This is not my jam. But, you know, for him, it's where he finds his joy. Just like for the teenager I was speaking to yesterday, who's their first whiskers are starting to come in, and they are beside themselves with happiness, right? Or the people that, you know, we help out with legal name changes. We helped over 400 people complete their name changes in court last year. I mean, that's cool. I know that the day that I got my name change done, I probably shouldn't have been on the road because I cried all the way home. But it's a life-changing and life-affirming experience, and we need to remember the good that happens in our community each and every day. Because I got a list of the bad stuff, right? And you've already heard a bunch of it, so I'm not going to repeat a lot of it, right? I mean, we can talk about the numbers that, you know, 50% of the people of trans experience that live in Pennsylvania have been homeless at some point in their life. We can talk about that 47% of transgender people right here in Reading have food insecurity and they go to bed hungry at night. We can talk about the fact that, you know, we are under attack every day, it seems like, in the newspaper, right? Every day on social media. By the way, it's okay to turn off social media. I just want to say, the algorithm is an outrage machine. It just stokes your fear, it stokes hate. It's okay to take a break, believe me, I do. Okay? But the number that I want to talk about right now is 436. That is the number of anti-LGBTQ bills that have been introduced across this country in the federal legislature and in the state legislatures, including a half a dozen bills here in Pennsylvania, and there's more coming, thanks to our good friend, Senator Mastriano. It's okay I call him out by name, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you know, affecting everything from healthcare to our ability to use our names in school to our ability to get legal ID. I mean, you name it, they're coming after us, right? 375 plus of those bills specifically target the transgender community. And, you know, we run, I guess, 7 different support groups for trans people, and in a typical night, you know, we'll get 30, 35 people at those meetings. Our last meeting had almost 60 people. And the reason they came is because of the trauma that they are feeling because they feel like they're under attack. When they should be celebrating themselves and celebrating joy, instead, they're feeling trauma. And for the life of me, I really don't understand why people are trying to attack us. Right? Why would they want to attack a community that produced Alan Hart, who was the person that discovered the diagnostic tools that are still used to this day for the last 100 years to diagnose and treat tuberculosis? That was a trans guy. For the life of me, I don't understand why, got to get out my phone, They would attack the community that produced Lynn Conway, who was the person that developed the technology that makes your smartphone work. I don't understand why they would attack a community that produced Angelica Ross, who this day, today, her organization, Trans Tech Social, they are training our future tech entrepreneurs. The next Facebook, the next TikTok, the next whatever, it's going to come out of the trans community, right? Because we are strong, and we're powerful, and we're smart, and we're brave. Woo! We are also woke. And we're going to take that word back. We're going to own the word woke, because woke is what got us freedom of speech. Woke is what got us freedom of religion. Woke is what got women the right to vote. It's what got us the civil rights movement. It's what got people who are gay the right to be married. Woke got us here today. It gave us Social Security, and it gave us Medicare and Medicaid and Obamacare. So I'm just asking you all to stay woke. And if you ain't woke, wake the hell up. Right? And it doesn't take a lot. Like activism and advocacy, you can do it on the sly. No one has to know. You know why? It's because when you vote, it's a secret ballot. No one knows you're an equality voter, right? You can give money to organizations like the Pride Center or to Reading Pride Celebration or us. And no one has to know. But it allows all of us to keep doing the work on your behalf. You can write letters to the editor. You could invite your school board director out for a cup of coffee and let them get to know you and let them know that you support trans and LGBTQ youth and why. All you got to do is show them a photo. So I keep a photo on my phone, and I'm going to stall while I open it up here. Have we looked at the trees in the sky yet? This is Jackie. So Jackie's a young trans woman who I met about 2 years ago. She has amazing pink hair. I met her when they came to us and tried to get help with her legal name change, because Jackie wanted to get her name on her driver's license. You remember when you got your driver's license? It's like the best day ever, right? Because I got freedom, right? Well, the first person Jackie ever came out to was her teacher. She didn't come out to her mom, she didn't come out to her dad, she came out to her teacher. That teacher then met with school guidance counselor who helped them come out to their parents. Dad, not so cool, but mom is a rock star. And mom has helped Jackie all along the way, has helped move Jackie from somebody who is suicidal to somebody who is just out and enjoying life. Her teacher also happened to be the coach of the school's field hockey team and invited Jackie to come on the team. Jackie, by the way, is a really lousy field hockey player. Does an amazing job of warming the bench. But what did Jackie get? Jackie got community, right? She got the ability to take the benefit that sports gives, right? Where you learn how to lose with grace and win with dignity. You learn how to play by the rules, right? You learn how to support your team members and your community around you. And those are skills that follow you for the rest of your life. Help us. Help kids like Jackie or Olivia or Scooter, which I still think is like the best name in the world for a little kid, right? Help us help them by voting, by raising your voice, by coming to events like this, by giving, by writing letters. I know that Senator Schwank and the rest of these folks, they love getting letters from us. They get enough from me. And I want to reassure you that in Pennsylvania, we just had a meeting with the governor last week. Nothing bad's going to happen on the state level in Pennsylvania, right? We have been assured by leadership in the House. We have been assured by leadership in the Senate, where we have a veto-proof minority. We have been assured by the governor that they have our backs. Nothing bad's going to happen nationally from a legislative perspective, right? Last night, President Biden put out a statement to that effect very publicly. The action is in the school boards. The action is local. Please, 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 take your school board member out for a cup of coffee and let them know that you care and that you vote. Because the truth is that trans rights are human rights. Let me hear you say it. Trans rights are human rights.
Trans rights are human rights.
That sucks. Trans rights are human rights.
Trans rights are human rights.
We need to protect trans kids.
We need to protect trans kids.
That was a little long, that sentence. It's a bad habit. How about this? Protect trans kids.
Protect trans kids.
Thank you so much for coming out. It's been a crazy long day for me. I'm going to go home and do a panel with the VA later on, but I'm so grateful to all of you for coming out tonight. Thank you so much.
Well, Corinne, don't run just yet. I've got one more task for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Reading Pride, the LGBT Center, Eastern PA Trans Equity Project, and all of our elected officials here this evening, thank you all so much for coming. Now, the highlight of the evening is we're going to watch that beautiful flag fly in front of our City Hall. And I'm going to ask our two transgender community champions, two beautiful women, are going to raise that flag at City Hall here, and that the press can take and run with it. Let's see that on the front page instead of the hateful nonsense. Corinne, Elise, please join us at the flagpole.
All right, ready? Get on there, yeah. All right.
Oh, no, right here. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Undo that. There we go. We got that now. You're welcome anytime.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to raise that flag half-staff in honor of the victims of the Palmer explosion. Hope you'll attend the vigil and be a sense of community. And we're going to check in on that flag tomorrow morning, and our friends at Public Works are going to make sure she's flying high. So once again, thank you all, and thank you to these two amazing and beautiful women for raising that flag for us. Thank you all again for coming out, and have a great night.